Alright, good morning world. Thursday, April 28th. It's about 10 minutes after 6 in the morning. Death Valley down yonder. I'm at about 1,000 feet where I camped last night. Oh, I'm feeling it today. That's gonna be sunrise. Forecast today was about 10 degrees colder than yesterday, which will put it in 70s and 80s instead of 80s and 90s, something like that. Should be pretty comfortable. I've been working on my plan from last night. Oh, yeah, there's my camp. Once the sun went down, the bike had been pointing towards the west. Now I got it aimed towards the east. I pulled the batteries down pretty hard at the end, trying to just get up to here. And I think I've only got about 36 volts on the battery right now instead of 40, so they suffered. I mean, they'll come back, but I just don't have any power right now. Not enough to move very far anyway, which is fine. So, what I was kind of thinking about, today's Thursday. If I rode to Ridgecrest, I think it's 90 miles. I think I had a different number before, but it's about 90 miles. Probably a comfortable 2 days. So if I left like pretty soon on just the bicycle, and I'm not ready to leave yet anyway, but hypothetically if I left now, if you didn't see the last video because I haven't posted it yet, the trailer hitch is broken, cracked. It's not completely severed yet, but I don't think it's safe to ride it anymore. So with the amount of load that I'm carrying, it's getting squirrely. It's got too much flex on one side, and the trailer doesn't track straight anymore. It doesn't want to go straight, so it fights you a lot more. So we're basically out of commission for now. The plan has been, probably subject to change, disconnect the trailer, which means all of my solar and all of my batteries are on the trailer, but then the bike itself is still a functional bicycle. So I think 45-mile days, more or less, should be pretty easy to do without the extra weight. So I would take just that backpack, the one with the orange vest on it, take everything out, just put food and water and probably a pair of sweats for night, and not much else. Just take what I need, go to Ridgecrest, or if I find something closer, but I don't think I can see any rental truck places between here and Ridgecrest, get back to Ridgecrest, which in addition to probably having a rental place, probably has a shop that can do some welding, make the repairs, turn in the truck, and then continue from there. Wasn't on my plan to spend any time in Ridgecrest. I was just going to roll through, but I think we're still okay. Today I should still be in plenty of time to get to California, to get to San Francisco. I've got a bit over a month still before I have to be there, so should be fine. If I leave now, I'm going to get to Ridgecrest Friday afternoon. Okay, I'm thinking about it. Like, I've got a 7-day pass here. I've got food and water. I could ride back down the hill, get more supplies, and come back up again. Without the trailer, the weight would be much easier, but I would also have no solar. Okay. I could take the batteries on the bike. I wouldn't have as much range without the solar, but I might have enough to get down there, pedal as much as I can, and then use a little bit of the battery to get back up the hill. It might be worth doing. What I'm really feeling right now is I'm tired. Coming up this hill, I really pushed my legs hard. So if I sit still for a day, it doesn't really hurt me as much as I thought. That's kind of where we're at now. I've got enough food for a few days. I'm not too worried. Since it's going to be cloudy today, that'll make it less awful to just be sitting here. That's one of the things I was kind of thinking about, is not an ideal place to be sitting for a long period of time, but I can probably stretch it a day and not be too bad. Yeah, it's kind of what I was thinking about yesterday, is if you can slow your brain down just a little bit and think, do we have to do something right now, or couldn't we just sit still for a minute? So I was kind of looking around, and the one thing I remember from all the survival books and everything is, shelter. Look for shelter. And I think a lot of the things that you hear of as like bushcraft now, how to make a shelter out of whatever you can find and everything. I don't know, some of it, I mean, yeah, it would give you shelter, but it almost feels like, well, here's something to do while you're waiting. It'll use up some time, right? So I was like, well, I had some time anyway, so I looked around. I haven't built any grand cathedral or anything yet. So earlier this morning, I had kind of walked around to scout out the location a little bit more. And I was torn between finding a better spot, seeing what my options were, or just staying put, right? Well, this spot here, I moved about another 100 yards off the road. If it rains, we're going to be swimming, or pretty much it'll be a water slide, but that only happens about once a year here, I think, so probably not this weekend. So I carried most of the stuff back here, and then I thought, well, okay, I'll bring the trailer and the bike last when I have it unloaded, so it'll be lighter. I pick it up, and yeah, it basically just snapped. So the crack that I had in the hitch yesterday, it's completely failed now. And that was when it was basically unloaded. So it didn't have much left in it anyway. So it wouldn't have made it another day of riding. So I go ahead and take it apart. And I was just looking at it just now, and I'm like, well, it's kind of cracking me up because this part here is the steering head. Oops. And so I could take the forks and plug it in there. I don't know how I'd sit on it, but the back half could become its own little bicycle almost, because it's basically that. It didn't make any sense at all, but I just thought it was kind of funny to look at it like that. The other thing I hadn't considered at the time, when I took it apart, this is where the broken half is, on this side. So I could just leave it on there and get it fixed and bring it back and reassemble it. So instead of going into town, getting a U-Haul truck, I could go into town, get that part fixed. It'd be a lot simpler, less moving parts basically, and then come back out here, pick up the trailer. Maybe we could make a stand for the trailer, because if I could make some kind of a stand that would hold the trailer up, I guess the point being, if the trailer would stand up, then it wouldn't break again. It's the picking up and putting down is where I usually break it. Just had the best nap under the tree here. This is why I moved, is this tree at 11:30 is still giving me shade. Okay, so that's half of the day. So then all I'd have to do is pick up the cot and move it next to one of those trees. Oops, overexposed. And then I'd have shade for the afternoon. So, move 20 feet kind of thing. I was trying to get a video uploaded, and I think it's got 10%, but I had it plugged into the bike so that the solar is just about, the batteries are just about full now. So where the bike is doesn't have good cell phone coverage. About halfway out there, I got good coverage and no shelter, no shade. So, all right, greetings from Death Valley. Woo, I'm sheltering in place. So what happened was yesterday I noticed a crack in the trailer hitch. It's been something I've been concerned about for a while, but I hadn't seen it. Yesterday I finally saw it, and this morning it actually broke. So that was, honestly, it was kind of a toss-up which would happen first. I'd either run out of money, that hasn't happened, thanks guys. I'd blow up the motor or the controller, or I'd fry a battery, or something on the trailer would break. I already broke a wheel on the bike, but we got that fixed. So yeah, life on the road. Anyway, so the way I'm looking at it right now, today is Thursday. It's about a 2-day ride into Ridgecrest, which I think is the nearest place that I can get it fixed. Unless I think of something better. I don't want to backtrack through Death Valley to get to a closer place is kind of the issue. So what I'm looking at, I already disconnected the trailer, which has all the electrics on it. So probably would just take the bike, no motor. I mean, the motor is still there, but I won't have any batteries or solar. So just strip it down, take just my backpack, water and whatever food I've got left, and go towards Ridgecrest. What I'm thinking though is if I leave on Saturday, it's probably a 2-day ride. That would get me to town for Monday morning, and then find a place to get it fixed. Hopefully quick turnaround, 2 days back here, pick up the trailer, and then ride out of here again. With that done, then I wouldn't have to go through Ridgecrest again because I've already been there. Okay, I mean, I was kind of one of those things that I wanted to ride through one last time because I used to be stationed there, but if I go there and spend half a day in a welding shop, that's probably close enough. I don't know anybody there anymore anyway, so yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of where we're at. I don't have enough bandwidth up here, I don't think, right now to upload this, but what I'm probably going to do is tomorrow morning when it's still cool, I'm about 1,000 feet up off of Death Valley right now. There's a place called Stovepipe Wells. It's a little park service, kind of a town kind of thing. It's got campsites and a general store. I came through that on the way up here. I'm like, well, that's the closest place I can see to get resupplied. So ride back down the hill and back up again. I figure I'll get another gallon of water and a few more snacks and stuff, and then that'll put me stocked up. And then the next day from here, I can leave the park and go towards civilization and hopefully someplace that I can get a welder. Yeah. Anyway, that's where we're at right now, and thanks for all the support. And if you haven't seen a video for a while, this is probably why I haven't been able to upload it. Okay, that's it for now. Bye. All right, it's about 6 p.m. on the 28th of April. As of this moment, the video from the 27th hasn't gone up yet. And I shot a short video today that also hasn't gone up yet. I'm like right on the fringe of where the cell coverage is. I can see it, but it doesn't really work. So I was hoping at least the short one would go, but I don't know, it's my life. That's exactly my life. It's almost there. And I'm like, it's rough enough walking in here, and it was hot today. It was about probably 90 degrees or so. So I didn't want to walk all over the desert looking for that last little ray of sunshine or internet or whatever. So Stovepipe Wells is kind of that way and just around the corner, and I think that's where the signal is coming from. So I'm just kind of almost getting it. I was able to post a couple Facebook updates, but that's basically it. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to comment on, honestly, I feel incredibly lucky and fortunate, just the way that things have been working out. I mean, like, yeah, sure, things aren't exactly perfect right now in that I broke the trailer, which you'll see the other videos probably before you see this one. But okay, like key points, right? Okay, we got little bush, little bush, little bush. Most of the bushes I've seen are like that for like a mile in either direction of the highway, right? And this road, which is not much of a road, it shows up as a road on the GPS, but it's like a Jeep trail, you know. I probably would drive my truck through here, but there's a few spots I would question. You know, when I had a truck, I had a Z71. I probably would drive it through here, but it's questionable, right? But it shows up as a road, and there's apparently camping areas further down, right? Well, I almost didn't know it was here until I zoomed way in on the GPS, and then it said road. I'm like, okay, that's a road off of the highway. That's all I cared about, because 4 o'clock, 4:30, I'm just exhausted yesterday coming up the hill. I think I was 1,000 feet up vertical elevation, and the top of the hill is 4,000 feet. So it's going to be a heck of a climb out of here. Okay, so I'm just like, I don't care, just anywhere, right? So I decided today to just rest and shelter in place. So originally I'd camped a little bit over there, and then I walked around and I saw this, and I'm like, okay. I was on the verge of trying to rig up shade using parachute cord and my sleeping bag, right? I'm like, okay, that would work, you know, and I could tie it off to the army cot and everything. And then I realized that over here, because of this wash, that's about a 3-foot berm there, right? And this one particular tree, bush, that gave me shade until noon, you know, because it was overhanging a little bit. So I had the cot sitting right there, and I just laid there, and I freaking fell asleep a few times. I'm just like, okay, let's just work on our Zen here. You know, we're out in the middle of the desert on the edge of Death Valley. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna rest, you know. So I sat there, and then about noon, the sun was high enough that it became a problem again. And I was looking at my options. I'm like, okay, I could have rigged the second solar panel off of the side of the trailer with a stick and some string and laid down underneath it, and that would have been completely fine. But then I got to looking around. It's like, okay, there's that one, 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 that one. Because of the wash, these bushes are giant size. They don't normally get that big. But they had enough water in the last couple of years, they really sprouted. So you can kind of see where the army cot is. I was able to just pick a spot in the shade. I moved the cot 3 or 4 times as the sun went overhead, and I always had shade all day today. It was just wonderful. Now the sun is getting low. I'll sit over here for a little bit longer, and then I just lose focus, maybe. Anyway, I'll move the bed back over there, and then I've got the bike. Even though the bike is disconnected from the trailer, I got the wire connected, so my phone charger is still working off of the solar. I can't tow the trailer until I fix the hitch, but the trailer itself is still working for power. Okay, so it fully charged the batteries. What I think I'm going to do tomorrow, bungee strap the batteries onto the bicycle, leave the solar here, go down the hill. I'm thinking at first light, it's just as soon as I can get down there, hit the little general store. Also, the ranger station is down there, so I'm going to talk to them a little bit when they're open. And couple ideas. One, something I haven't confirmed this yet, but I just was kind of thinking about it. It was $15 for me for a bicycle to be in the park, but that's good for 7 days. I'm wondering if they had to pay extra for camping, because I'm here for 7 days. All the campsites are basically open and unregulated. I think there was showers down there next to the RVs. Okay, so I'm going to check that out, because if there's a shower, that would sure be nice. It's been about a week. Now, if I do take a shower tomorrow morning, I'm going to have to come right back up the hill. So that's going to pretty much, void my shower, but at least I'll have a fresh start. So, anyway, I just was thinking, I guess the short answer is, yeah, I felt really lucky that I happened to find a spot where there was big enough bushes for shade. Because, 90 degrees in the desert isn't super hot for here. In the summer, it'll be like 130, right? But I'm up 1,000 feet. That does make a difference. It is slightly cooler up here than it is down there. And a little bit of shade and a little bit of breeze.
and a little bit of water. I was really super conservative with my water today, stretching it out. I have enough for a couple days, but I'm like, well, stretch it out, see how I do. And I was just sipping just enough to where I felt okay. And I've lived in the desert long enough. I'm pretty good about that. And I was in the shade and in the breeze, so I really wasn't sweating. That was the important thing, right? So since I wasn't losing a lot of water, I could do okay. So yeah, what I'm thinking then, tomorrow is Friday. I was going to wait until Saturday, but if I don't have the electrics on the bike, I should be able to easily do a 30-mile day. It's about 90 miles to Ridgecrest, so if I leave Friday, I could do Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and get to Ridgecrest in time for Monday. Get the part fixed for the trailer, and then come back. I'm pretty sure there's a Walmart there, so I can restock there with what I need. Come back on just the bike and the backpack, and then fix the trailer, put it back together, and then get out of here. I had thought about spending a few days in Lake Isabella. Now I'm a little behind on the schedule again because of being here for a few extra days. But I might still hit Lake Isabella for a day or two, because after being out in the desert pretty much the entire trip, I think a little time at a lake would be nice, just to soak a little bit of moisture back into me again. So that's kind of my plan. But yeah, by the time I get the bike fixed, come back, load everything up, get out of here, it's going to run me a little short on time. I was working on my Zen today. You know, it's hard to be stuck. That was the hardest thing. It was kind of like the time in the casino. I'm like, okay, I just want to go. It's like, well, no. I really needed the rest today. So I just laid down on the cot and snoozed in the shade. I fell asleep about 100 times today. I felt pretty good. Wake up, stretch, get up, move around. Nope, you get out of the shade, it's still hot. Okay, get back in the shade again. By staying in the shade, I saved a whole bunch of water. So that's just makes sense. So I've still got 2 full liters in the bottles and probably another 1.5 liters in the Camelback. So I've got almost a gallon of water still. So we're in pretty good shape. So anyway, happy to see tall bushes. That worked out so good. And for anybody who doubted the Army cot, I gotta say, that is one of the things that really has paid off on this trip. It's crazy. I mean, you look at this ground, you lay a little thin foam on that wouldn't do anything. I mean, yeah, you could look around and find the sand, which there is sand here, but it would be difficult to get a tent to stand up in the wind on the sand. The pegs don't dig in. This has just worked out wonderfully. Anywho, that'd be that. I think that's it for tonight. Stay tuned. And yeah, for anybody that's wondering, there was a giant thumbprint on the lens the whole time. Sorry about that. I just happened to look on the other side. I was like, man, why does it look so bad? Sorry. Anyway, high quality cinematography here. All right, that's it for now. Oh, this looks kind of cool. No, never mind. Bye. You might hear the receding roar. I was laying down editing the video. You might see a black dot going up that way. It's an F-35, one of the new airplanes. It came by, it buzzed the highway. I gotta say 100 feet. Because when I sat up and I looked over, I was looking at it as it went by. I could hear the roar coming up the valley. I'm like, holy cow. And no, I had the camera I had the phone in my hand because I was editing, but I'm wired to the bike for power, so I couldn't jump up fast enough without getting tangled up. That's got to be the coolest thing ever. I mean, for me, probably scared the shit out of everybody else, but yeah, that was cool. He's probably going to get all kinds of complaints about that. But I've been hearing planes flying over, and I have seen a few yesterday and today. I'd finally would look up because I was laying down a lot today, and I'd be looking up, and you'd start to see them. And I don't know if this one was one of them or not, but there was single-engine military aircraft flying over me a lot. So it could have been F-35, it could have been F-16s. I'm not very far from China Lake Naval Weapons Test Center, and I'm also not very far from Edwards, and other bases aren't that far away. So I don't know who's doing air combat maneuvers out here, but I have been seeing them the last couple of days, like when I was coming across Death Valley. It was kind of a hazy day, and you'd look up and you'd see vapor trails going in circles, so it's like, okay, they were chasing each other kind of thing. And I've been watching that all day today, but to hear this guy, it's like it got to the point you'd hear the roar, but they'd be 10,000 feet above you, and so you couldn't even see them. So I kind of quit looking after a while. And then I hear this one coming up, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on? It's like I don't think he was 500 feet over the ground. I think he was closer to 100 feet. It's like, whoosh. That was pretty cool. Sorry, no video. I'll just do the whoosh for you. Another missed shot. All right, back to your regularly programmed here. And it's almost sunset too.